Hello, I am Richard,
And this is Jacob.
and welcome to episode 3 of Storming the Vault. So, hey, Jacob, what is it we're talking about today?
We are going to be talking about proxies.
Oh man, fun and exciting times. So,
Yes.
some of you might be wondering, why are proxies even a thing or considered to be necessary? So, it boils down to cost, right? We're here to teach and to talk about financial information, and cost is a huge thing. So, dual lands are approaching thousands of dollars in some cases. Um, which one is the highest right now, Jacob?
Probably Underground C at like $600-700 now.
I saw it at 1100 the other day when I was looking.
Yeah, Neomint copies are still up there.
Yeah, whew, crazy. And then powerful cards such as Time Twister, Chains of Mephistopheles, and a variety of reserve list cards are just, they're going up. There's no end in sight to that. So,
Yes.
are there any big reserve list cards that stick out to you?
Um, you got the other card Moat from Legends. That card's up there like 1,000, 1,500, maybe even 2,000 now. I'm just gone crazy.
And then like a Tabernacle at Pendrell Vale.
Yeah, like
That's
$3,000 or $4,000.
insane.
Yeah.
Um, and then of course, so if cost is a thing and these cards prices are going up, like we're talking about, buying one copy is a tall order, let alone if you're contemplating making other decks that may also want to use that card.
Yeah,
So having multiple copies for multiple decks, just it gets out of hand very quickly from a cost perspective.
for sure.
So, and I would also argue a very distant third, as to reasons why, cost being number one, multiple copies of the card being number two. The distant third one would probably be art and frame variations. So a lot of these reserve list cards don't come in foil because foiling didn't exist when Magic started, and sometimes you just don't like the art. What's a card art for you, Jacob, that kind of sticks out as just a horrid eyesore?
Um, I'd say like honestly as a set, like cards from like Invasion, like those cards, the art is just like so cheesy.
I would agree. I think Mirage for me, with the it's almost like every card is faded for some reason.
Yeah, I'd agree with
Mirage
that.
and Visions, I think it was both of those. It was like somebody just sapped all the color out of them. It was so weird. Um, but yeah, so then with proxying, you get your hands on the cards if you want multiples, or if you're looking at buying more expensive cards. But then I find that there's two different sides to this argument. There's the one where people get proxies, know that they're proxies, and don't want them to look anything like the actual card, as to not portray that, oh, I really own a $9,000 card looking at Time Twister, or I own a $1,200 card looking at Underground Sea. They don't, it's not a status thing for them. They just want to be able to play the card. And then on the other side, there's people that want it to look as much like the real thing as possible. And that, of course, can traipse into uneasy territory. And so we're going to kind of open that up, kind of double click and open that up a little bit. What are your thoughts, Jacob?
I mean, honestly, I think like you're saying, you have those people that want it to look real and kind of like they almost want to show it off that they have the card as it's real, even though they don't. Like, and I feel like that's kind of a wrong way to be on it. Like, you shouldn't try to like show off something you don't have and like try to fake it that it's real, especially because like if you're saying say people like trade with you regularly and they're looking at your cards and they're going, oh, you have like all these thousands of dollars cards, like you must have like great stuff, and Next thing you know, they actually don't have anything and all their stuff's proxies. That kind of makes trading a big issue, for one. And then for two, like you're saying, the people that just want to have the card to play with and they want to have it look like a proxy. I think that's the best way to be, because then you're being straightforward with the people and, you know, everyone's above table with it.
Yeah, that's definitely what I've encountered is more often than not, when it comes to playing, I don't care. Because I'm sitting down across from, you know, I'll pick on you for instance. I know you have the capability of buying the card, but you know, be that as it may, I can clearly see that's not the card. You know, it could be an instance like I probably eventually need to make a completely proxied version of my Joyra deck, um, in case I want to go out somewhere ever, thanks COVID, and play again, so that I'm not carting around my really expensive version of the deck. Because if something happens to that, it's all proxies. I have all the cards here at home in a binder, you know, safe and secure. I don't have to worry about if I trash or damage the proxy. And then if somebody wants to give me grief, okay, well, I don't have to play in that place. I don't have to play with that person. You know, I'd rather play with someone because, and I find it stimulating for someone to play. You know, proxies are a way to make the game cheap.
Yeah.
I'm playing a game. I don't care what somebody's wallet looks like, right? So that's kind of where I'm driving at it for me. So that was a rant or a ramble, depending on how you want to look at it. A lot of thoughts going on there. But the biggest thing is I want to play the person. I don't care. I'm not playing against their wallet. I'm not playing against, you know, the perception that, oh, you're Mr. High Dollar and High Fancy because you have a tabernacle at Pendrell Vale. Who, you know, that doesn't.
Card sucks.
We'll have that discussion at another point in time. I'm not going to say that it sucks. It's not the greatest thing since sliced bread. I think its price is a little inflated personally, but I'm not going to say it's a bad card because I have seen it work in decks that pretty much shut people out, and it can be rough and backbreaking if not handled correctly. So
That's true.
it's just not. It's a stacks effect that can kneecap someone pretty hard, if played at an appropriate time. So
Yeah, to me, it's kind of just the $3,000 price tag that makes it suck.
I can see that, especially from a cost perspective.
Yeah.
So, but bearing all of that in mind, of course, then the question comes, where can you get proxies from? So that's something that Jacob and I talked about just a little bit ago, is there's actually a fair number of options, some of which can make the process really easy for you and cheap. So a couple of examples that we're going to go through. We're going to go ahead and get set up here a little bit. And here we have Etsy. So this is something that comes up quite a bit, and people that I have spoken to or things that they're looking for, because you can go to Etsy, you can look up proxies. Some people do custom work. Here we can see custom design request. Some of them are in foil. Here, as you can see, we're just scrolling through and there's just such a wide array. Here we have some that are common dual lands and classic art and black border. I would argue those look fake, but that's not what we're here to discuss. Some of these are already printed, so they're already ready to go. Some of them, depending on the seller, are print to order, so you may have a little bit of a delay there. And then of course shipping, I see a lot of free shippings here, you know, for some even as cheap as like $3. So from a cost perspective, Jacob, what do you think of this as an option?
I think that honestly, at the point if you're going to proxy a whole deck at some of these are even $5 or $6, you're kind of looking at, I mean, okay, you're going to probably not have basics, be proxied. You're gonna have actual basics, but next thing you know, you're looking at $300, maybe $400 for proxied out deck, and kind of at that point, might as well just build a budget deck, and use real cards. I think it kind of gets a little expensive doing it that way.
Right, and I would agree. And then there's more than one way to skin this proverbial cat.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to go ahead and pull up another website, deckstats.net. And now I'll admit I don't use my deck stats very often. And in fact, the reason why I found this out and was actually taking a look at it is for proxying. It came across to me when I was chatting on one of the discords. So like if I come in and I take a look at one of my decks here, we'll look at my old hackball variant or print proxies for it.
Mm-hmm.
Here under tools, there's an option called proxies. And then you can see here the proxy type. You can do full card image, or you can just switch to text proxies. So like if we do full card images, it's going to show us these images. Now these are all in color. So of course doing this in black and white might not look the greatest. So just a friendly heads up. But if we switch to text proxies and scroll down, you can see it's all just black and white.
Yep.
Something that's nice, easy to read, nothing too crazy. But I would argue that there's still a lot to get into with this. And this is something that we were talking about earlier. You got to have a printer, got to have paper. You have to be able to maintain ink on it. So, and if you have like a laser printer, it's gonna be more expensive. If you have an inkjet, you could easily blow through a black ink cartridge trying to print off, too many decks. It's just things like that to be considerate of. Then you've got your time and your time investment, because you're going to have to then cut them, because when you print those out, they're about 8 to a sheet. So you've got to cut them out. You've then got to size them down to be roughly the size of a magic card. And then you still have to sleeve them. Like I made the joke earlier, you can't really bridge and riffle with sheets of paper, right?
Yeah. You have to put basic lands or tokens behind all the cards.
Yeah, so there's still going to be some, you still have to use some cards. You're still going to be sleeving up, these proxies. I mean, sure, it'll get you through in a pinch, and this is probably great for those who are DIY. They're looking for something, really simple, really straightforward. So yeah, don't necessarily be discouraged by this option. It's great in a pinch. It's great if you see something on a Friday and you want to test it out with your friends on Saturday, spend a couple of hours printing everything off, cutting it up and getting it sleeved up so you can test it. But it also goes back to something we've talked about before. Be honest, tell people that you're trying it out. You want to see if you even like it, and then kind of take it from there.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically all you can do.
So MPC autofill at the time of recording is not exactly cooperating with us. So we're going to still show the setup basically. So there is some components you'd have to download to your computer, and MPC autofill is a website that will let you pick the card images. You type in your list, or you can copy and paste one in, you fill it out, you select the card images, you select the backs, which it does not give a Magic the Gathering back like what you would be used to. It gives custom backs. So I am at least going to share my screen, and I have my own personal recent card order I ran. So we're just going to do that. You'll see here it starts processing, and then it automatically loads Chrome. It's going to give us the MakePlayingCards.com website, hence the MPC autofill part. And you can see it's downloading objects in the background, and then it's starting to process the card order. I'm not touching or interacting with anything. It's automatically running and doing this.
Yeah, it's a really neat website.
Yeah, this is something that I showed you just this morning, and it's just like, it does it all for you. Yep, it sure does. Now, you made a jab at me considering uploading cheap cards, but we're talking this order that I ran came out to be about, I think, $56, and like I was saying, 17 or 18 of that was shipping. So you figure $40, and this is 231 cards. That's cheap.
Super cheap. I think
Super cheap.
this is the cheapest proxies I've ever seen. That's for sure.
Now, of course, it's one thing to watch this continue, which we'll go ahead and stop sharing. But for the sake of, I do have some on hand, some of the proxies. So this is the type of back I run on some of mine. Of course, it's all blurring out. Hooray for blurring. So let's go ahead and kill the background for a second. Hooray for the nasty mess behind me. So the backs are non-traditional magic. And then the front looks just like a cool card, right?
Proxies a mountain.
Yep. Because this art is cool. Don't hate on my proxy mountain. But then you can take it up a notch, right? And then be like, all right, I'm gonna proxy Time Twister with the abolish the reserve list back. Or the obscenely priced demonic tutor with the cool art that doesn't come in English. Guess what? You can proxy it, then it comes in English. How about that?
That's what's up.
Now, this is a close variant to the magic back, but as you can clearly see, it does say proxy, not for sale. Like, we're not trying to promote something that people are gonna look down on and frown upon, or really cool looking duels. So Badlands. I
Yeah.
like the latest Zendikar Expedition frame, so
I do too.
I
I
think
think they're some of the best frames ever.
I think they're pretty cool. Oh, that, or I'm going to pull a Marge Simpson. I think they're neat. So, and then that's why I say some of these are also variant arts that, aren't traditional. I think a lot of mine are pretty standard, but like here, Grim Monolith was never printed with this art. This was done on MTG Online.
Yeah.
For the art. So stuff like that, like, let me see, there's a couple others. I think I have a whole box of them. I bought way too many proxies in my day, just in case anybody's wondering.
That's so that you can go play and people are like, oh, do you have that card? Well, I got a proxy you can use.
Right. No. And a buddy of mine came to see me a couple of weeks ago, and he bought some cards, and I was like, here, and I just gave him proxies for all the cards he just bought off of me, because I knew he was trying to put proxies in. He was trying to basically build out 2 different decks. So I was like, well, here, you just bought the card. Here's your first proxy, so you can have it in more than one deck. And he lit up like a Christmas tree, let me tell you. Or like, here, transmute artifact, never been in a modern frame, different art. And then I like my proxies. I'm in the camp of, I want them to look fake. I don't want someone to think that, I'm trying to give them or steal one over on them by saying, oh, I want you to give me 150, 25 bucks for a mana crypt. No, it's a proxy. I spent like 10 cents on it at most. Here, you can have it. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't bother me at all. So it was during the recording of this podcast that I discovered that the MPC autofill website is no more. Due to an altercation that I won't get into, the website was taken down. I also have learned that there are changes coming within the MPC proxies community. For legal reasons, I will not get into the methods on obtaining these proxies and encourage you to seek out that community and ask them for their assistance. The methods displayed and discussed are indeed still valid and meant as a means to help you get into CDH at a reasonable price. Why proxies? Why go through so much effort to ensure that these methods are made known? Well, that's actually pretty easy. EDH at its core is still a casual format. CEDH still has a touch, hint, if you will, of casual. This while still pushing the boundaries of what we can do to play the game we enjoy. Do I encourage you to buy cards? Absolutely. Do I also caution you to take measures, test things out, and ensure that your investment in your Magic the Gathering deck is a sound one? Also, yes. Another, albeit distant piece is the aesthetics. Different cards and styling and art speaks differently to different people. The idea of customizing a card is very appealing to those who pour time and effort into one single deck. Similarly, this is why some people love foils for the wow or for that bling factor. So in the end, the MPC method of obtaining proxies is the cheapest for the best quality that I have seen or come across. So there are a variety of avenues open to how you generate the proxies that MPC prints. You can reach out in the community and find these. I leave it to you to go on this adventure for yourself, as that's really not the point of this particular podcast topic. The other nice thing about MakePlayingCards is it stores all of the proxy orders I've ever made. So all the ones I've uploaded, the way I uploaded them, the art that I selected, you name it, it stores all that information on their side.
So you can just reorder the same cards later easy?
Yep, you can reorder the same ones later, or you can, if you wanted to change the back, like if you, because they, at first they only had like 40 or 50 backs, now they have like a few hundred. So like if I wanted to go back and get new backs on cards, I could switch it up and do that.
Oh,
So,
neat.
Yeah, really cheap, really great option. And this goes back to what I was saying on our I think last episode on breaking the barrier of entry for CEDH. You can use the MPC autofill method to proxy out an entire deck and try it, see how you like it. For about $45. Whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah. So this is also, you know, you want to make multiple decks, like as my example. So just to recap, just kind of run through and kind of wrap everything up in a pretty little bow. Etsy, eBay, various artists online, all those products are going to vary wildly because of the different means of production. But you do have the options in some cases to get a fully customized deck. Have it look the way you want, have it, if you are into anime and you have this idea about having a theme deck around your favorite anime, custom proxies can help you do it.
Yep.
If you want to show off bling, you can get custom proxies in foil. But as Jacob said, that's going to cost you. Then there's the very cheap route, the DIY route we talked about with deckstats.net. It's great for in a pinch if you need to get something done up quickly and you want to test it with the boys on a weekend, or girls where we don't,
Magic's not the 3% women like Rudy says.
I don't know. I've seen and heard more ladies playing Magic. I have not played with one myself yet.
Oh, really?
Beyond my wife.
Huh. Interesting. I've actually, I would say in the past 2 or 3 years, I've seen a lot more ladies in Magic.
Well, we can have that as another topic for another time.
Yeah.
And then for MPC autofill, it's what I use for my proxies, unless I want something custom, or pretty specific, just because of the sheer ease of use, the cost. It's very tough to beat. It just requires a little bit of time investment on your part compared to some of the other options. So now for the next part, Jacob, I had a couple of questions for you. So we have had some questions come in. So this is the part of the show where we're gonna answer a question. And this one came in on the introductions video as a comment, where they were asking about the user, of course I don't have it in front of me, so forgive me if I'm spacing on the name. The user was asking about thoughts on speculation with the new cross realm stuff that they're doing, where they're going to be bringing in like Warhammer and Lord of the Rings and some other IP, intellectual property IPs. What do you think that's going to do to Magic overall, and what do you think it's going to do from a financial perspective? And a question for me is, what do you think that's going to look like for their ability to do reprints?
I'd say I've actually been thinking about that a lot, and my personal preference is I think that it's pretty stupid that we're going to have, say, Iron Man be a Magic card. That to me sounds kind of awkward. That I'm playing, a Shivan Dragon, and the guy across me is playing an Iron Man. Like I thought we were playing Magic, but it is cool, as gaming nerds and whatnot, to see crossovers of things we like. Because most of us that play Magic probably have all watched all the Marvel movies. That's just like a given. And I think as far as the financial value goes, most of the cards are probably going to go up over time with the fact that they're collectibles. Like if we look at the Dungeons and Dragons cards, a lot of those cards are going to be collectible in a few years. People are going to be like, "Oh, I want that card." Or like they did the Evolving Wilds, and they gave it a super cool like border and art. Everyone loves that card. And it's a common land, and yet it's worth a few dollars for the fancy printing. And so like stuff like that's going to be interesting for the collectible part of it. But then you also, like you were saying, reprints and stuff like that. How's all that going to work? Kind of gets a little awkward if we're just going to be in like different games or different themes, movies or whatnot. Like, how are you going to reprint a Shivan Dragon in an Iron Man set or something like that?
So I think an answer, not saying we're not Wizards of the Coast, we can't speak to this. An answer could be they do like they did with the Godzilla cards from Ikoria, where yes, it's a named version of Godzilla, but underneath of it, it lists the magic card it's meant to be the print of.
Yeah, and honestly, I thought that was a huge hit and it was super successful. And I think that's the smartest way they should do it, because you have the one version that is the actual magic card, and then you have the one that's the fancy collectibles version.
Yeah. I think the comment mentioned specifically Warhammer 40K, which is, of course, even further out than the examples we've used. So, I mean, I think it's cool what they're doing, because they did the Adventures in Forgotten Realms inside of Standard, and then they're going to do Baldur's Gate for the next Commander Legends set, which is wild if you ask me.
Yeah.
And then the Lord of the Rings set is going to be modern only, I think they said. It's not even, it's going to be like Modern Horizon style, where it goes straight to modern. It doesn't even go into the standard card pool. So
Yeah.
that's interesting. And then I think they said Warhammer, back to the commenter's point, Warhammer I think is just supposed to be a couple of commander decks. It's not even going to be like a full-blown release.
Yeah.
So
I think kind of the reason they're kind of doing that is because obviously Warhammer is a huge market. There's a ton of Warhammer players, and a lot of those players actually don't play Magic, believe it or not. You'd be surprised. And so I think they're basically just trying to cross over into all these games and show all these different gamers that you can play Magic too, and it can be like the game that you love to play.
right. And then there were some other comments that came up. We're not going to discuss them. If you want to speculate on them, check out, if you're watching this on YouTube, check out comment sections below this video and other videos, because some of them are kind of humorous. And then, of course, if you want to ask a question, leave it in the comment. If you are watching on YouTube, if you are listening on Spotify, check us out on YouTube where you can leave the comments. We are working on Patreon, doing the Patreon things. Also, if you're checking us out on YouTube, make sure you do the like and subscribe. Helps us out a lot, so that you can keep seeing more from us. Just that friendly plug here in the middle of the video. And then right now, yes, it is just Spotify, but we're going to be looking at branching out to other podcasting areas. So just keep an eye out for that. And then, of course, you can still reach out to Jacob and myself through our social medias. Link trees available in the descriptions below on the YouTube. So the other part I believe we wanted to talk about a little bit today was just market speculation, because now the Midnight Hunt is fully released as of today.
Yeah.
At this recording, you guys will probably see this in about a week. So are there any cards that really have stuck out to you, Jacob, from this set?
Yeah, actually, I was talking about the red dragon. I think it's a 4-drop.
Do you remember the name?
Let me see real quick. And then also, there's Ren and 7, the new, basically Ren and 6, but Ren and 7. That card is seeing a ton of demand, and I think it could definitely see a lot of growth. Because right now it's sitting at, let me see, 26 bucks. They were $20 yesterday.
Yeah,
And
that's climbing.
yeah, they're already up $6 from yesterday. I think we could probably see them maybe 30, 35 as an easy, if they don't even take off. Like if this takes off and starts, doing well in tournaments, we could see $40, $50 mythics. That's, we've seen it before.
Yeah, I see a lot going on with the werewolves and the vampires in this set. You speculated on the vampires in the past. I know a lot of people have been wanting to see a werewolf legend that was actually useful.
Yeah,
to
and
be a commander.
that new commander is great.
Yeah, I think it was the Game Nights video recently where humans won in the end, but the werewolves had a very strong showing, I would argue. So lots of cool stuff in the new set to check out. Are there any sleepers, any of them that are kind of like you might want to pick this up?
Yeah, so I just found that dragon. It's called Moon Veil Regent.
So
And it's sitting
just curious,
at,
what does it do?
let's see, it's at $6 right now. And it's a 4-drop, 3 in a red for a 4/4 dragon with flying. And then it has, whenever you cast a spell, you may discard your hand. If you do, draw a card for each of that spell's color. And then it has, when it dies, it deals X damage to any target, where X is the number of colors among permanents you control.
Oh gosh, so in something like Tiamat, or in EDH, even since we're focusing on EDH, going a little old school Scion on the Dragon.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think it's, I don't know, for it to be going up really, it'd have to see a good bit of tournament play for standard or so. But I think it has a lot of potential, and if this makes it into one of those decks, this could easily be a $15 card. To me, it kind of reminds me of that card Murktide Regent that was from Modern Horizons.
yeah,
That's kind of what it reminds me of. Basically, kind of like that power level. But I think Murktide's a little bit better for one being in blue, because blue sees a good bit more competitive play than red.
yeah.
And so it gives it more options.
Which, just checking Murktide Regent real quick. It is a blue dragon, 5, 2 blue creature dragon for a 3/3, which they got a kneecap blue somehow. Delve, each card you exile from your graveyard while casting the spell pays for one of its generic cost. Flying, Murktide Regent enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it for each instant and sorcery card exiled with it. So again, that's exiling it with the Delve. And whenever an instant or sorcery card leaves your graveyard, put a +1/+1 counter on Murktide Regent. Yeah, that's pretty powerful.
Yeah.
So that's pretty beefy. Not to mention, if you're watching on YouTube, we'll probably put the art of the card up here now, but it looks cool. And it's
Yeah.
sitting at 22 right now.
Yeah. I remember when it came out, it was $7 or $8, about what the red dragon is. And it made its way into a deck in modern and took off crazy.
Oh yeah, Delve. Well, since it has Delve, the Delve decks probably loved having it.
Yeah, they were all like, sure, free huge creature, why not?
Right. Now from a reserve list perspective, we were talking the other day about Wheel of Fortune, and it's swinging, it seems, up and down. Have you noticed any other changes with that?
No, so like right now, um, they're sitting about $200 for like HP MP copy, something like that. If you want to get a real beat up copy, they're like 170. But still sleeve playable. And at that price, honestly, I'm a little surprised of how cheap they got, because before the spike, I remember they were about $200. That's about where they were sitting, and then they spiked to almost $500. And I was like, holy crap, like this can't stay at $500. Nobody's paying $500 for a wheel. And then now that they've come back to $200, I'm kind of looking at them going like, why are they at $200? Because it still sees as much play and demand as it did before the spike. So I think it's kind of undervalued, honestly, at the moment, considering inflation and where other reserve list cards have gone, you know?
Yeah, no, I agree. Definitely, it kind of struck me as odd, because I've been helping, same friend coming over, I've been helping him kind of piece some things together. He's working on a Kenrith toolbox, and then he also has Scion of the Dragon. So just lots of EDH, CEDH, especially staples, seem to be, I won't say swinging hard, but there definitely seem to be some that are just like, what on earth is going on with them? And that's what
Yeah.
made me think about Wheel.
Yeah, I think Wheel's honestly the biggest swinger I've seen, believe it or not.
Hmm.
Because up until this last couple weeks, I've bought and sold so many reserve list cards, it's not even funny. And the other ones I will point out is actually the dual lands have taken a crazy swing. Like I remember, like we were saying, Underground Sea. I remember when HP copies of those, literally any copy, I could sell it for $700. Any copy beat up, it was selling for $700 at the spike. And I probably bought and sold like 10 at that price, because I was like, man, this is free money. And then now I'm seeing some by like private sellers putting them up for sale on Facebook, Marketplace, or whatever, you know. And they're getting down to $450, $500 now for some HP copies, which seems like a huge swing to me, to lose like $200-$300 in just a matter of, you know, a month or two.
Yeah, it's maybe it is COVID settling a little bit. Maybe the market is evening back out somewhat. I would argue it's still very early to make a speculation like that.
I would agree. The main thing I would say is in general in the summer, Magic usually takes a dip, because usually people will be, for one, like out of school, or they'll be off of work or whatever it might be, and they kind of want to go travel in the summertime. And a lot of those people that go traveling, they stop buying Magic cards, in which case the whole like demand kind of drops. And obviously price and demand go neck and neck. So demand drops, price got to drop too, or it's not going to sell. And so when you have sellers like me, we want our cards to sell, and so we're going to drop the price until it sells. And then you start getting in this fall season like we're in right now. And once you get right to the end of fall, I'd say beginning of winter, the market kind of heats back up. People start getting into that spending season. You start getting into, Black Friday and then Christmas. And everyone's kind of like trying to either buy Christmas presents or give gifts, whatever it is. And so you kind of see the demand creep back up.
So leading in for next week, we're going to be looking at setting up and playing on spell table along with etiquette. So like just quick examples are setting up spell table, getting your lighting right, mounting your camera so that we can, your opponents can see your board, and making sure you're not showing your hand, but you leave it visible at all times, your deck visible at all times. That way people know you're not doing hinky stuff, because to a degree it is about trust. So thank you so much for joining us and listening to the talk on proxies and the market speculations. And of course, we'll catch you next time.
Have a great one.
If you have enjoyed this podcast, please hit the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and make sure that you enable notifications to catch future podcasts. Hitting that thumbs up really does help us out a lot. Check out our Patreon via Jacob's Linktree. With our gameplay video for October coming up, we will be looking to offer a fan a chance to join Jacob and I for our game. Message us or drop a comment below to find out how that someone can be you. And finally, Storming the Vault podcast is available on Spotify. Please give us a follow if you like the content. Thanks. Have a good one.